Coming to you from the Radio for One studios in Franklin, Michigan. Welcome to the Detroit Cast.
Big fan.
A show not just free of charge, but free of FCC regulations.
Thank you for your support of the Detroit Cast.
Oh, there it is.
And without further delay, it's showtime. Please welcome the Detroit Cast. Here are your hosts, Mike and Jay.
Yeah. Good day, everybody. Welcome to the Detroit Cast. Back live, Mike and Jay. Big E, of course, is here. How are you, Jay?
It's good to be with you, Mike. I'm just fine.
Yeah.
Glad to be back.
Enjoy the couple days off?
Had enough to do. Kept me busy, so.
Yeah, I hear you.
How's your trip, Mike?
Oh, it was good. It was good. Went to Colorado, as you're well aware. Went to a wedding, which was amazing.
Was it?
Yeah, they had the filet.
Oh, nice.
Oh, spectacular filet. And then I don't know, they had the like ceremony thing and like I do and all that shit. But then they get to the good part of the wedding, which was the food portion, and they brought fillets out, which were like real, like chop house fillets.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wow, that was really good. I could go for another one of those. And little did I know, like there was a guy coming around with a tray that just had fillets on them.
What?
Was like, anyone want more fillets? And I was like, well, don't mind if I do, sir.
I'll be damned.
And took another. Dude, it was amazing.
Usually you are pigeonholed into the beef, chicken, or vegetarian.
No, sir.
And the only way you eat more is if you grab your wife's or you grab the guy across. Hey, you going to eat that, man?
Yeah,
You know,
finish that.
done that a few times.
Yeah, and so I didn't have to, though, because they brought more. And then they brought over, like, chocolate chip cookies. Were specially made somehow, which were delicious. And then we went inside for some fine cocktails, which was always fun. And then
Sounds like a lovely affair, Mike.
Yeah. People were dressed up. It was nice. And then they brought over some more snacks and more drinks, and then cigars.
Oh my God!
They had a table with cigars.
It's a rich guy wedding, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Holy cow!
It was nice.
Who was this?
You don't know him,
but family of Beth's?
Yeah, Beth's cousin.
Okay.
And
apparently a rich guy.
He married well. Let's just say that. And then towards the end, it was like, oh man, I'm getting so full and kind of hammered.
Yeah.
You know? And it was like, well, don't go anywhere because cheeseburgers, shakes, and fries are on their way out next.
That is awesome.
That's ridiculous.
That is awesome.
We needed something to soak things up.
Dude, when you've been drinking, that's the thing.
How many hours were you there?
Oh, it was quite a few hours. Yeah.
You had like 8 courses.
Yes, exactly.
Well, good. I'm glad you were well fed.
Yeah. So that part was tremendous. I mean, it's beautiful. Overlooking the city
Scenic.
of Denver. Very scenic. Yes.
Picturesque.
Yeah.
Did you go skiing?
I did do a little skiing.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Figured you'd be really sore if you did that. No.
Well, I didn't ski that long. I got to be honest with you. You know, with the altitude and all.
What kind of
dude,
what level of K hill were you at?
I went to Loveland Ski Resort, and which, all those things are a couple hours away
Or
if
Diamond,
you're in the city.
Sorry, like Diamond. Was it Black Diamond we talking here?
Yeah,
or?
dude. Well, oh yeah, there were plenty of expert runs, but
Talking about you though.
yeah. Well, I went up with Beth, and she was kind of like, oh man, I haven't done this in a long time, and I was like, whatever, I got this shit. I'm just slaloming. Just back to and fro down the hill like a beast, and then I waited for her to make her way down the bunny hill, and then we went up again, and I was like, you know what, this is where I leave you. I am gonna mosey over to that lift, and I'm going to the top of that peak over there, and she's like, okay, so I'm like, yeah, I'll meet you down at the bottom, and I went up there and looked down.
It's a bit much.
I proceeded to fall. Once there was like, I don't know, one blade of grass poking through snow, and my ski hit that one blade of grass and stopped on a dime and sent me down, to which great guffaw from above at the chairlifts as people are watching down at me. I felt like a total asshole as they pointed and laughed and ridiculed at my expense.
You?
Oh, I was totally shamed. And then I proceeded to, like, you've seen a turtle on its back?
I have.
Yeah. Picture that. And so I'm on the side of a steep mountain, and I've got poles, and they're just kind of going deeper into the fucking snow as I'm trying to anything to get. I've got no core strength. You know this, right?
I do know that.
You recognize this is a problem when you're trying to gain yourself footing, and get yourself back up. And so the pole's just going deeper, and I'm just falling. And finally, And I feel like everyone in the chairs is just like, look at this fucking asshole down here. Hey, everybody, get a good look at this asshole.
Those are those moments that I don't know how long it took, but it seemed like it's an hour if it was even a minute. Like
it felt like an eternity, and all eyes on me, and
just laughing.
they're just I can hear them laughing from 20 feet up in the air. And I finally get up on my feet, and my skis are kind of like one's way forward and one's way back, and I'm like, again with the core strength, big problem if you're on skis. I never had this problem before, and then I'm like, oh shit. And I'm trying to hold it. Down he goes again. It's a great guffaw from the assholes that were shaming me and pointing at me. And so as soon as I got done with that run, which was remarkably hard from what I remember being able to do on skiing. Well, dude, it's the altitude. It really comes down to the altitude.
How much you spend on renting skis? And you went down twice?
Well, I went down a few times, but yeah, that was pretty much... Plus, I did this on Super Bowl Sunday, and so I really wanted to get back for the Super Bowl.
Make sure you didn't die and miss that.
Yeah, so we got there right when the lifts opened, and then we're skied for a couple hours, and then went into the lodge and get a little bit.
Yeah, what was the time there? Because you're right, it would have started earlier.
4:30. Yeah.
Yeah, so
4:30 start. But other than that, so I did that. I also, you would have loved this, Jay. I went to the Denver Art Museum.
I saw a tweet about that, right?
Yes.
You saw a Star Wars exhibit or something?
They had a full Star Wars exhibit, the costumes of Star Wars going on. I took a shitload of pictures to show you, but it was awesome because I got to feel, otherworldly, smart. Here I am at the Denver Art Museum.
Oh yeah, you're taking in culture, looking at Star Wars shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, how cultured.
Well, dude, was I at the Denver Art Museum? I was.
You can't decide on what the
Maul.
Right.
But it was badass seeing like all the, I don't know if you would care about it, but seeing like all the original costumes on display, that they actually used in Star Wars. And
don't they always look wee?
Dude,
all these people are so wee.
That's funny you say that because I was actually going to say that. Like, I can't believe how wee like Mark Hamill is.
Yeah.
Like Mark Hamill wore that, or like they're tiny little wee guys.
I remember seeing some, I think, from Pirates of the Caribbean or something, thinking, God, all these people are so damn wee. What the hell?
Yeah.
You get some regular sized men.
Yeah, no, they're not. Except Chewbacca, they had his actual like shoes, like his furry hand. I don't know if they cut him off him or what, but they had his boots there, and dude, they're huge.
Yeah, that dude's legit, like 7 foot something, right?
Yeah, is that Peter Mayhew?
Of course it is.
Yeah. But yeah, it was. So I thought it was cool seeing like Yoda's outfit and Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Speaking
and,
of wee, huh? Little tiny Yoda.
Yeah, little wee Yoda. Yeah, he's wee. So that was cool. That was cool.
Good.
Getting to see that, and I don't know. I'm sure other things will come up. Oh, I got high.
Oh, nice.
Yep, I partook in Denver where it's legal.
Yeah,
it's illegal. You know what, dude? I don't like weed. I'm sorry.
Is that right?
I tried. I bought a joint.
Yeah.
And I bought a couple of those edibles.
Oh, gummy bear?
Not the gummy bear. But dude, it's so weird. Like seeing they're literally on every corner.
Yeah.
Like these, like they have the green cross, like the red cross, but green. Like, and they've got medicinal ones. You need to be this age, and for medicinal or recreational, you need to be this age. And you go in there, and I drag Beth into this place. I'm like, I just want to see what it's like in one of these places. And so we go in there, and it's like, you get carded and fingerprinted almost, and then they take you downstairs, and it's just like, hey, how's it going, dude? And it's like, hey, how's it going? And they couldn't be more helpful.
Yeah.
They're explaining everything, but they're total high-ons.
Yeah, you're like, I just want to get high. They're like, all right,
dude, you've come to the right place.
Perfect.
It's funny you say that, because like that's like what we do here is we like get people really fucking high. So cool. And so I'm just like, yeah, what is this one doing? They're like, well,
that gets you high.
That one right there will really get you high, as opposed to this one, which will really get you high as well. No, but they were. I was like, dude, here's what I remember. I remember smoking weed and getting paranoid. I'm like, oh, dude, this is game changing. This one right here. It affects the part of the brain known as
okay.
blah, blah, blah.
Doctor so-and-so here.
Dr. Chong, Dr. Cheech Andor Chong is going to break down the science and the metabolism breakdown behind it. It's like, oh, dude, this is great. This affects the part of the brain that affects when you get the paranoia. So if you take this and then smoke this, you won't get the paranoia. I'm like, all right, cool. And then I took it, and it was just like,
paranoid?
I wasn't.
Fuck, they're coming after me.
I wasn't paranoid, but I was just like, yeah, this is really
Just make you tired and
It
shit.
kind of made me tired, and it was just like my eyes are kind of heavy. I probably look really high right now, and I've had better drugs.
Yeah.
There are better highs out there than this. But I tried.
Good.
Yeah.
That's all you can ask.
How was your week?
It's pretty good. So when did you get home then? Last night? Early?
Yes, I was in a car with one big E-tard at 1 in the morning, coming home from the airport.
E, you went and picked him up. How much did you get paid for this, E?
I don't know, 20.
All right. You got paid at least. I was expecting you to
little
go,
bit.
dude, I didn't get paid.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't have done it for free.
Yeah, fuck no.
Yeah.
Fuck no.
You know, the
20
ride there.
bucks, that's not even worth it, though.
It's
Where were you up from?
one way.
Oh, no.
Oh, did no one tip you last? I'm sorry, I was tired last night. I'll give you another $1. I'm sorry.
It really wasn't that big of a deal. Obviously, going there for sure because we just did it after the show. Although I will say, like picking someone up at midnight, I can rage. Like when I go to the raves and I was in New York, I stayed up till 5 or whatever. But if I'm just sitting at home, dude, I want to go to bed by
Yeah, that's
10.
tough, man. Unless you
Like,
live in Canton, you shouldn't be picking people up from the airport. That ain't
Agreed.
right. That ain't right.
leaving the house at 11:30 at
Ugh.
night, I'm just like,
Oh,
oh my
E.
god.
Well, E gets there, and there's quite a logjam. I think there was a flight that came in from like Fort Lauderdale, obviously the one I was on from Denver. So there was quite a bit of traffic there, and a lot of people picking up. So they've got like the one lane you can park in, you can kind of stand still and wait, and then they'll kind of back up. Like, dude, they were like 4 wide or 5 wide.
It was pretty crazy.
It
I
was
just
a-
didn't think
it
at
was a
11:30.
jam.
Right. I didn't think at midnight. I mean, I don't know. I don't think about that
Did you give
much.
him your
but-
car? Or-
Oh shit, no. I had nothing to do with this. This was Beth is doing this shit on her own.
So you had Beth's car.
No, I had the parents' minivan.
Yep, he took the venture. I
God.
took the venture to get the guys. And so he's stuck like, well, I'm like 3 people. I'm like back towards the thing. I'm like, okay, well, I'm at the far end of baggage claims. So just make your way down there. All right, I'm doing my best. And
Make
so
your way down there. It's not. I'm going to come to you. It's I'll just stand here.
I had others with me, and
Yeah.
mobility was sort of an issue.
Really wouldn't have made much of a difference. There was a lot of people there. So honestly, even if he had made his way to me,
But
like,
that's not the point. And I had no problem walking down there. And so E is stuck like behind all these cars, and there's someone in front of him who's not moving, and E feels like if that guy moves up 5 feet, I can get around him, and then I can go get my people. And so E's just like fucking. He's laying on the horn, and usually those cops are just like. Move it along. They're
Yeah.
fucking. And the cops last night, for whatever reason, were just like, they were in a jovial mood. They were just like, whatever, line up, wait for your people. And so E's just laying on the horn, and I see E, and he's just, move! He's fucking waving his arms and flipping off, and he's freaking out, and he's just stuck
there was
standing
like
there.
4 car lengths in front of this guy. This guy is stopped. There's probably about 4 car lengths in front of him. If he had moved up to the front, I've been right at where Mike and them were, I think.
Yeah, and I wasn't going to walk 10 feet. Fuck it. Yeah, I saw E dealing with his issue.
Yeah.
And so this cop is like got his flashlight in E's window, and he's looking at E, and E's just like, like fuck. And the cop's looking at him, and I walk up, and I'm like, from me to you, and I go, sorry, he's retarded. He's with me. And the cop looks at me, and he goes, he's with you? And I'm like, yeah, I apologize for any behavior issues he's got going on here. He goes, hey, seems to be a little worked up. I was like, yeah, that's him. I said, we'll take it from here. He won't give you any issues. And the cop just kind of smiled and let us go.
I'm not
But-
usually like that, but I was just kind of, I wanted to
Yeah,
get
it's
to
1
you.
o'clock. You want to get home, right?
I wanted to get to you guys. This guy was sitting here. I mean, it wasn't like there was just a foot in front of him. I'm like, dude, move up a foot. There was like, I'm right about that, right?
Yeah.
At least like there was a probably
few
3,
feet,
4.
sure.
There was not a few feet.
It was fine. I just,
know.
whatever. It was better than the last trip home from the airport that I had with Aunt Carol, who was with us on this flight.
How so?
well-
Wait, Aunt Carol came with you again this time, and last time she drove you home. Is
Aunt Carol picked Beth and I up from the airport like a year ago.
Okay.
But Aunt Carol was also at this wedding. It was her son that was getting married. And so she happened to be on our flight coming home, and Beth, as she's known to do, volunteered to have Big E also drive Carol home, which was a nice gesture. But last time we came home with Carol picking us up at the airport, she picked us up in this giant fucking boat of a car. I don't know what, a Grand Marquis or something, one of those.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of those snowstorms, like just blizzard. And we've got this rear-wheel drive car. And we're going down the freeway, like up the Southfield coming home. And this thing is just like kicking out. And every time she hits the gas, it's just fishtailing and shit. And dude, I swear to God, We're driving down the freeway, and all of a sudden, her car starts sliding, and boom, slams into a guy on the fucking freeway. And I'm like, oh my God, this sucks. Now we're going to be on the side of the road, dealing with
Exchanging
insurances.
information,
Cop,
You know,
wait for the cop.
I don't even know whose fault it is. That guy never fucking hit his brakes. He just kept going. I mean, he's got a smashed fender, and Aunt Carol never responded like she'd even hit him. And I'm in the backseat like, this is fucking incredible. We just slammed into that car,
That's the Southfield Freeway for you, man.
and nobody cares. 15 minutes later, traveling down the same freeway, once again, we start sliding. Boom! Hit a totally different car, smash our front end.
What? How old is Aunt Carol?
Oh, I don't know.
Look
How
that old to me.
Our mom's age, yeah.
Ooh, pretty old.
Yeah.
Well,
But dude, and again, nobody even signaled like, "Hey, asshole, you just hit my car."
Does Beth react? I mean, are you guys looking at each other like going, holy shit?
This was the remarkable thing. Like, I tap a car, you tap a car. I think your natural response is like, "Oh my God, now I got to deal with this."
Yeah.
Like, this is a big deal. You just don't hit cars,
Right.
The reaction in the room seemed to be like, "Well, you know, what are you gonna do? I mean,
Sometimes
snow coming down."
Robin's racing,
funny how-
ready?
Right,
Robin's racing.
hell yeah. It's funny, it's okay
happens.
when it's Beth's aunt, as opposed to if someone had done, she would have reigned like, I feel like hell on earth. If something
someone
happens to
slammed
her,
into her car?
someone pulls in her driveway, she puts spikes
Ah,
out.
good point, Edie.
That's right.
See an inconsistency
And
there.
you know what, by the way? I could have been an asshole, but I really got hammered for like, oh, let's not get us in a car accident. I could have been like, you mean like the last time?
You mean like Aunt Carol over here?
You mean like, yeah, you mean like Bumpy McGee over here?
But that's the weird thing. It's never really been discussed. It hasn't gone much further than that.
How did
Like,
you not throw an elbow into Beth's ribs and be like, oh my God, you see that?
I think I was in the back seat, stunned at,
Well, you
at the
probably would be
development.
stunned at it. Like,
And then
I
you
could
never
see-
discussed it with her?
Not really.
Oh
and
my
it seemed to
gosh.
be like it was just kind of played off like, yeah, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I don't know. Hitting two cars while going down the freeway seems like a big deal to me, but again, they didn't seem to have it. It's not like they were like flagging her down, putting their flashers
Right,
on,
right.
and she just took off. It was like nobody even acknowledged the fact that two cars just hit each other. So, okay. So our trip home this time was safer than that.
With E driving.
Yeah,
It's
big
good.
E.
Hey, got an important message from financial advisor Mark Leibovitz. You're no longer at your previous employer. Should your 401k still be there? What are your options? Leave the money with that plan, roll over the assets to a new employer's plan, roll over to an IRA, or cash out the account value. Call Mark Leibovitz at LPL Financial for a complimentary consultation to see if an IRA rollover may be the right decision for you. Call 248-626-2000 and ask for Mark.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA SIPC.
That IRA rollover one that's hard.
IRA rollover.
RIA rollover. That's
But it's
tough
very
to-
important,
It is. It's got to be a better way to word that though, because that's like rural road, you know.
very much. So did you get to see the Super Bowl, Mike, most importantly?
I did. I
glad.
did get to see the Super Bowl.
Where'd you watch it?
I watched that at Beth's family's house, aunt and uncle's house.
How'd that go?
It was good. It was good. It's a departure from the way I usually partake in the Super Bowl.
How do you usually?
Well, I'm not one for. Okay. If I were to simply break it down for you, how I typically enjoy the Super Bowl is get out of my house, go and get. Nobody is welcome ever. That's just kind of the way it is. Not to be a dick. I don't mean to be a dick to people, but for the most part, I don't want to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
I don't want to discuss the last play.
Right.
I don't want to mute the TV during commercials to discuss anything. And so that's harder for me than anything. I'm used to taking notes and like, I know it becomes a job almost. So that I was out of my element for sure, being around people and hey, food's here and hey, drinks. Who needs more drink? Like
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
a departure from me.
It was
but
a Super Bowl party.
yeah,
Mike attended a Super Bowl party.
sort of.
Oh.
I did. But yeah, it was good. What a fucking game, man.
Wow.
What
Yeah.
did you think, huh?
You know, it's funny, dude. I went into that game wanting New England to get spanked, and I definitely still wanted that as Atlanta was spanking. But then I grew to respect them as they came back, dude.
Really?
My whole attitude changed. Like by the end, I was like, "Holy shit, man! This
Yeah.
Brady guy's pretty good." No, I went in like hating on them, like I do the Yankees, where you're just like, "Fuck them." You know, I
Yeah.
don't want to see them win again. By the end, I was kind of like, "All right, this would be pretty wild. This would be cool if they won this.
To finish this
yeah,
off.
to finish it off, because everything was everything was falling into place.
Yeah.
They were making it happen. Just God, the execution on some of those plays, unbelievable.
Yeah, that's should not be downplayed. Like the fact that you, as a proud Michigan State alum and long time not fan of Tom Brady,
No.
I think you are.
No, Brady, I've been sort of indifferent to, although I have never been a lover of him. It's more the Patriots.
Yeah,
It's more just, dude, I get sick of teams. I get sick of, whoever wins 2 in a row. I'm like, all right, fuck them.
Yeah.
Whether it's basketball, football, hockey, whatever.
this one seemed different because there was so much on the line as far as like being the only guy with 5 rings, and with Belichick being the coach to win 5
Yeah.
Super Bowls, and Brady. There was. I could totally get behind people that are like, yeah, that's kind of cool to see that history, break the record of Montana and Bradshaw with 4 rings each. And, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's funny. Michigan fans take ownership of Tom Brady now, like,
Even though he barely started for him.
even though that's
Where
the
was
funny.
Drew Henson on Sunday?
Yeah, well, that's the funny thing, and I know this isn't something that hasn't been discussed before, but it's so funny how people are like, oh yeah, Brady, oh yeah, like they saw something,
Yeah.
and the
Right,
fact is, most Michigan fans at the time wanted that fucking squirrely looking dude
Move out of the way,
way.
Brady. Brady.
Bradley.
Move out of the way,
name is.
Bradley.
Get out of here, Bradley.
Dude, yeah, the anointed one is here, Drew Henson. Get the
Yes.
fuck out of the way. He was just a nuisance, kind of.
You are in the way. Yeah, could he win a couple games for us because he's got experience? Sure, but he's in the way. Get out of the way. The real talent is here. And now,
Yeah,
it's like,
it's something.
they sell his jersey in the Michigan, shops now.
Yeah, you
and-
mentioned a moment ago, State fans. I don't know that there's. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not plugged into that whole piece of it. But I don't know that State fans hate on Brady just because of the Michigan thing.
Yeah.
I think it's more like me and the hatred for the dynasty.
Yeah.
If they're a State fan and they hate the Patriots, I think it's probably more like my attitude. Like fuck the Patriots because it's sick of a dynasty.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I never had that feeling. I totally get that with a lot of
Because
things. I've had that
I'm like
feeling.
what you just mentioned. Like I don't really associate Brady with Michigan, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think of him as.
Yeah.
I know he
world
played there. I
beater.
remember him playing there. I remember being at a U of M State game where I think Henson started and then Brady came in and almost brought him back, if I'm not mistaken,
Mm-hmm.
at Spartan Stadium. But I just don't associate him with Michigan.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, he had the big, what was it, the big Orange Bowl win? Didn't he have some big comeback in an
Yeah,
Orange
he did.
Bowl
He
or
did
something?
when he beat Alabama in the Orange Bowl. Although some of that was also because Alabama missed a extra point in overtime. But he did beat
that'll do
Alabama in the Orange Bowl his senior year, I believe.
Well, it was definitely cool to see a game like that go into overtime.
That
And
was cool.
yeah. Did you watch it, E? I'm assuming you watched it, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. What'd you think?
It's crazy. It was obviously, I think it's definitely, as far as Super Bowls go, that's something that you'll definitely be talking about. When they show Super Bowls, that's going to be up there for a long time.
It was unreal. You started doing the math. You're like, all right, you could see if they can get possession here and then go down and score and get 2. You
Yeah,
start doing
yeah.
that game. But so
Well,
much
and
shit had
it's
to
so-
fall into place,
Well, he
and it was
misses that-
falling into place.
Yeah.
He misses that field goal, so then you have to do 2-point conversions.
Miss the extra point.
Or miss the extra point. So you have to do the 2-point conversions. It was just obviously crazy. I do remember that the time they got the touchdown, and I know I did not anything special on this, but I remember saying to my parents, I'm like, dude, like on first down even, I'm like, they have to go for it on 4th from now on. Like they cannot,
when
with
it was-
2 minutes to
yeah.
go in the third quarter here, cannot, punt the ball away again.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
guys like Brady?
I love him.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love Brady.
I'm a new Brady fan.
That's incredible at the end of
I
his
am.
career.
I watched that, and I started to like this guy, and then I watched his press conference, and I liked him even more.
Why? What did he say in his
I
press
don't know.
conference?
He's just, I guess I've never listened to him before. It's even around 19 years or something.
Jay, I've been saying this like every week. Like, dude, there's just a different when you watch that guy play quarterback and run this team.
Yeah, he's good. I know he's good. I know that, but
he
I've never.
shouldn't be. He's not fast. He's not mobble.
Yeah.
He's just right. He throws with tremendous accuracy.
Yeah.
He's got these little white burner receivers surrounding him. Like
Yeah, that is a racist team for sure.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking the whole time.
Yeah. But it's incredible to watch him. You know, I know it sounds like a Homer thing, but it's very Montana-esque. Watching a guy who's just not that mobile, not that fast, surgically pick apart a defense when they get on their game. It's something you just don't see from other quarterbacks.
And then apparently his mom was sick, Mike. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard she's been battling cancer.
Isn't it unreal how these they want to make a big story about the bleeding heart shit all the time. You know, they're always looking for this angle of, how do we make people cry?
Yeah, well, they have to fill so much programming, so it's like, well, who's worked with retards this last season? It's like, oh, that guy did. Oh, and then let's do a feature on
Sweet,
him.
Brady's mom is sick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then,
Sweet, his jersey got stolen. I wonder if he was going to give it to his mom.
Ooh. Was that a story?
Yeah.
I didn't hear that. Was his
I heard
jersey stolen?
Yeah, his jersey was definitely stolen. He put it in his bag right after the game, and somebody took it out of his bag.
Really?
Yeah, it's an open investigation right now, Mike.
Dude, you know how much that jersey's worth?
How you going to move that now, though,
Yeah, well, how do you move a...
I don't know. I've
Renoir.
always wondered that.
How do you move a Renoir, Jay?
I don't know.
Anyway, Tom is back home, safe in New England. You'll be happy
Good.
to know. With his wife Giselle, she's fine. She was also on the private jet that took them from Houston back home, while the rest of the team ate peanuts on the Southwest flight or whatever. But yeah,
Hey, don't hate on Tom Brady. I like this guy.
You think
There's something about him.
You think good things for his
Yeah.
future?
He's got a very bright future. Did you say he married a supermodel?
Yeah, you like that about him too, right?
That's
Found a
something.
hot one.
Something.
But yeah, he and his kids, and then his sister. I don't know about his sick mom. He might have just left her at the airport. I'm not sure. But they flew back. 4-time MVP of the Super Bowl now. Pretty impressive. Lots to like about this character.
Yeah.
Tom Brady. you say.
Bright future.
But yeah, it was kind of cool seeing Roger Goodell have to give the trophy and all that shit to Brady and Belichick. What the boos that rained down. I actually felt bad for Goodell standing there presenting this trophy and just the whole stadium booing
Is there a
him.
commissioner that doesn't get booed, though, during trophy presentations?
Not really.
Yeah. Everybody else
Bettman
is a
used to
bitch.
get it.
Yeah, everybody bitches about commissioners.
That one seemed that seemed like the whole damn stadium, though, was coming down on him. But
There's been some bad ones. A few years ago in hockey, I forget. I think
Bettman
a Canadian
gets it
team
bad.
won.
Bettman, yeah.
No, a Canadian team didn't win a cup, but I think it happened in a Canadian stadium. And even though their team hadn't even won the game, I mean, they just hammered him with booze. I don't
Yeah.
remember what. A few years ago, I think. I don't remember.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of other commissioners. Like baseball's commissioner, does he get a lot of shit for?
And it was Bud Selig. Fuck yes. Everybody hates commissioners.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not a job that tends to. You're right.
yeah. I guess the NBA's commissioner now won't. Adam Silver, is it?
Yeah.
He seems to be on the right side of history, the progressive side of history.
Right. Good point.
He took down our boy Don Sterling, took him down to Chinatown, so he's probably beloved. One of the things also that came out of the Super Bowl, there's a whole list of new products that we're not supposed to buy anymore, because they're divisive in nature. And apparently, I don't know how much Budweiser you guys have been buying, but apparently Budweiser's out now.
Is that right? What
Yeah.
happened?
But he even had a commercial saying about immigration being good.
No, I know, but that's the problem. There's a lot of people that are like, America, get him out of here. And so now Coca-Cola.
Also, on the right, we're not
calls for
supposed to buy from Budweiser.
Budweiser, Coca-Cola, Airbnb, Audi, and 84 Lumber.
Okay.
Pennsylvania company. I wasn't terribly familiar with
Dude,
84 Lumber.
nobody was familiar with 84 Lumber until they made this mini movie
Yeah.
that I guess broke the internet that night because they make this again, like bleeding heart, sappy ass story about this cute little girl who's with her mom who's just destined to immigrate to the U.S., they're
Sure.
coming from Central America. I mean, just the cutest of cute girls.
Sure.
And just the most determined of mothers. And it's like this short story, and then they're like, to see more, go to 84lumber.com or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And so everybody whoo, broke it.
Yeah. Well, apparently that the spot was divisive enough that they told them, like, you can't run this whole thing during the Super Bowl. So I don't know if that's why they broke it into two parts. I guess if you went to the internet, you saw that they came upon gross, I know, the wall.
Oh, is that right?
And
Okay.
but there was a sliver of hope as there was an opening to the wall, and it was
a big beautiful door.
It was a big, beautiful wall, gold doors.
Yeah,
We're
the
just
most
taking
beautiful door.
the most beautiful one you've ever seen.
but I guess it was opening the door provided by 84 Lumber had an opening, and so that these immigrants could come in and tears of joy and blah blah blah. So we're supposed to boycott them. Budweiser was the one talking about Adolf Bush's journey to America from Germany.
Ooh, Adolf?
Yeah.
Wow.
Adolf German.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have mentioned that, but okay.
Well, it was back in 1857, so it is pre-Hitler, so I don't think it's fair to judge him based on the name and where he's from.
Right.
Anyway, that was a 60-second ad, Born the Hard Way it was called, and it shows him coming to the shores of America where people are like, you don't look like me. Go and get. That kind of shit that all immigrants, but a lot of immigrants have been around. You don't look like me. You don't look like you're from around here. Finally, he meets a fine gentleman, Eberhard Anheuser, who buys him a beer. Hence, Anheuser-Busch, starting of this long, relationship together. Right. And so people were pissed off at
had
this.
that never happened, I mean, just think, we wouldn't have Busch Light, Mike.
Exactly. Are that many people buying Budweiser? I can't imagine many people, especially young people, buying Budweiser
Dude,
anymore.
I read something a couple years ago where like people under the age of 25 it was a huge percentage. I can't quote it right now, but it was enormous. It was something like 77% of people under 25 at this time had never had a Coors, a Budweiser, a Miller. Yeah, they're just not buying that domestic shit.
Yeah.
When they're drinking, there's so many craft choices.
But when you go there, that's true. But when you go to the clubs or just the generic sports bars, dude, if you look around, you say who's buying Budweiser, dude, I see that is still to me the majority of what people buy: Bud Light, Miller Light, Coors Light. Now, there's a lot more microbrews that's becoming obviously it's been huge lately. So you're right, that study was out there. But I'm just saying, when you say who's buying Budweiser, dude, when I go to the bar on a Saturday night, dude, it seems still like the majority of people are getting.
Those beers are expensive. Craft beers are expensive. Like there was one of the huge reasons we drank. Like we were trying to find Busch Light was just like it came with a lot of them for dirt cheap, and so for us it was like, how am I going to get a substantial buzz by the end of the night and not kill myself financially?
Yeah.
All right, well I get a 30-pack for $10. Deal.
Yeah.
And then you just do kids not do that anymore? Do they not drink to blackout drunk
I don't know.
anymore? For
I
a
don't
night
know.
of fun and revelry?
I don't know.
I definitely don't know. So
I mean, I see them in their bar with their tight pants on and their finely manicured beards, and they're sipping on a craft brewery, and just kind of an air of snobbiness to them. I see them, but we were
I
playing
don't
a
think that's
totally
true, because
different
I
game.
think they say the numbers are like as high as ever as far as binge drinking in America and on college campuses. So, man, maybe they're binge drinking high-end beers, I guess.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, going back to the 84 Lumber Group, this Pennsylvania company, the tagline for them was, "The will to succeed is always welcome here." And that's what triggered this huge response, and people, this one guy, Scott Melber, wrote, 32 years of business you throw out the window. Maybe your store should take pesos because you will never see my money. Oof. Yeah, so they're all pissed off. Coca-Cola basically re-aired the commercial they ran a couple of years ago in 2014, and that stirred everyone up. I don't know. What is the bitch about the immigration thing? Because I think people are talking about two different things almost, whereas one is illegal immigration and the other is just people migrating to this country legally. And I think that's where a lot of this disconnect is. Don't you?
I'm not totally following. What do you? I mean,
Well, I think when people are like,
Well, the story
Get
of
out
a
of my-
German guy coming from the Budweiser commercial is not the same as a guy coming from
just like walking up to a border wall and just deciding that a better life exists for me there, I'm just going to go there. Like that I think is where it's like, wait a minute. There's
I think there's a huge segment of the population that believes anybody who wants to get in here should get in here.
Sure. Yeah.
And then the other side says, well, wait a second. No, you should go through proper channels.
Right. But that doesn't make that person evil or racist, does it? Maybe it does. Audi also had their campaign for equal pay for women.
yeah, I saw that.
And then were there any commercials that you guys gave a shit about? Mr. Clean, I know did really well.
The one that caught my eye was that Melissa McCarthy one.
That was
Did you
all right.
what was that for? It was like for green technology or
It was
something.
just kind of trying to say, I was trying to say that, like, hey, it's hard to do a lot of this other stuff, but here's here's a way you could help out by just buying a
Yeah,
car.
so here we're launching Melissa McCarthy at a whaling ship or something.
Yeah.
We're having her climb the trees to save the tree, and I actually thought about you to look up, listen, look up, step to the side.
Look up, locate, step to the
See,
side.
it's too complicated. Dodge a tree. Dodge a tree!
Or timber.
Which one? I don't see it. Where? Which
yeah.
one am I dodging?
Yeah, but he was right. The point of the commercial was, wow, it's really actually hard to save the planet. So in the meantime, just create a hashtag or buy a green vehicle.
Right, just do this, and then you can say I'm
Yeah,
doing
then-
something.
Exactly. Then you feel better.
Yeah.
You don't have to actually go save a tree or save the whales. You can just,
Even isn't it true that we have more trees now than we've ever had in the last 1,000 years on this planet?
Well,
Pretty sure that's true.
I think for sure. I think
animals,
absolutely
too.
in this country we do. I absolutely have heard that statement. I mean, I don't think there's an argument to be made that it's okay to cut the rainforest down like we're doing. But
I
know
would
what
agree
you
with that,
mean.
E. I would
I
agree
have
with
not
that.
checked the forestry figures this decade, but I will rely on what you're saying.
I think I've looked into it. That's absolutely a stat out there.
Yeah. You see, the Justice Department is urging the appellate court, Jay, and I'm going to need some heavy lifting from you in regards to this.
Yeah, this is going to happen today.
Travel ban.
So most people listening to this, they've already ruled. They've already held the Ninth Circuit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got the, quote, Muslim ban executive order, right? And that was challenged by two states.
Washington State
and Minnesota.
Minnesota.
It was challenged in a federal district court in Seattle. That judge issued a temporary restraining order nationwide.
How can a local dude? Seriously, I don't mean to sound ignorant, but how can a local judge?
He relied on
Issue-
the need for uniformity in immigration law.
Okay,
And he said, look,
well, he's got a point there.
Look, listen. Yeah. Right. We could, because that was an argument by the Justice Department, said, hey, if you're going to rule in plaintiff's favor, make it a limited order and just make it limited to Washington and Minnesota. So you've got these two states saying, hey, lift this ban. We're being damaged because we need students in here from these 7 countries. We need workers, to come and work for companies that are here.
Yeah,
And therefore,
students on trips. We rely on their funding.
right.
Which is what's the buzzword that they're calling that? Standing.
Yeah,
Standing.
standing is very important for a party to be able to bring a suit. It's that you need to be suffering some damage, essentially, in order to bring a lawsuit.
So standing in this case, because that was my thought was, hey, who the fuck are you, judge in Washington State or in Minnesota, to decide for the country on a federal level?
No, that's
What is-
jurisdiction. Standing is as to the party, and standing is
Right, but
process-
my point was, what is their standing for making for affecting the country nationwide? What do you have? And so the standing then would be this ban that takes effect nationwide affects our standing because we rely on this student money coming in or these people working in industry in our community, which is
Yeah,
Am I off about that?
No, yeah, you're right. He found that these two parties, Washington and Minnesota, have standing because they're claiming that they're being damaged by funding and things like that aren't coming into them. Some people think that the Ninth Circuit today is going to reverse on standing alone and say these two parties didn't have standing. You need people who are really affected by this
Personally.
ban personally in order to have standing and in order to have a dispute before the court. So yeah.
So if I said I'm a student and I go to the University of Minnesota and I can't go there now, blah 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 blah,
Here's what
then would
happened.
I have standing?
Here's what happened in reality. They wanted to move this in an emergency, quick way, and they probably couldn't find individuals who had a really clear case that were good parties to latch onto this, and so the state attorneys general just brought the suit quickly because they wanted to end this thing quick. And so the guy ordered a temporary restraining order that's going to the Ninth Circuit. So you've got 13 circuit courts around the country, federal circuit courts, and those then get appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court if there's an appeal from there. Now, U.S. Supreme Court doesn't have to take a case.
Yeah.
And so it could very well be that by the time most people are listening to this, that the Ninth Circuit has affirmed the lower court, and that's how this thing is going to end, with the ban being ruled unconstitutional.
Well, then wouldn't the federal government push back on that even further? Then
They would appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. The U.S. Supreme Court now has 4 liberals, 4 conservatives.
Yeah.
Not to say exactly that they would definitely go down that party line, but remember, if they hold 4-4 then the lower court ruling stands.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they decide with this. My
Dude,
thought
the Ninth
is,
Circuit
like,
is all over the fucking map, by the way. There couldn't be a more inconsistent circuit. Just
Really?
FYI, it's extremely liberal, and it's just fucking weird. Like, the Ninth Circuit, lawyers just know this. Like, a lot of circuits you can look at and go, okay, that one's liberal, that one's more conservative, that one's moderate. Ninth Circuit's fucking weird, and that's
so
the truth.
what's an example of something the Ninth Circuit would be a part of that you would go, dude?
I can't think of an example right off the top of my head, but they're just outliers a lot of times. Like, there will be settled law where a lot of circuits say, yeah, this, and this. Within our circuit, this is how we've held. And then the Ninth Circuit will just go off the deep end, like with some weird
Yeah.
reasoning.
Wow.
And they're known for that. It's
Yeah.
it's just the nature of the Ninth
So
Circuit.
is that the difference in like liberal judgments versus conservative judgments? The way they view laws is just different, depending on like
yeah,
how.
but the Ninth Circuit is even weirder too.
Really?
Yeah, it's just known for being out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so a liberal. I mean, we've talked about this before, like in the context of Gorsuch being nominated for the next Supreme Court justice.
would be the divider or the break of the tie.
Yeah,
For
right now
tie in the
there's
Supreme Court.
4, although Kennedy's very much a moderate and sometimes straddles the fence as to whether he goes with the liberals or the conservatives. But very, very, very basically, the two philosophies are this. Conservatives
Retard it down for us, Jay, please, if you wouldn't mind.
Conservatives tend to say, look, listen, we're looking at the statute, we're looking at the Constitution, and we're going to interpret it strictly based on the original intent. We're not going to be result oriented. We're not going to look at, how is this fair? It comes out this way. If we apply the facts of this law, it comes out this way. Boy, that just doesn't seem fair to us. That's not how a conservative would rule. They would say, hey, it comes out the way it comes out.
I mean, they're not going to try to craft laws.
Correct. And so the criticism of the liberal side is that they're making law when they shouldn't be. They should be just another separate branch, an equal branch, legislative, judicial, and legislative.
So as the judge, your job is to look at the facts of the case, apply it to previous precedent that was set, judge it by the merits of its case, and then some people go, oh, well, but how does the LGBTQ community feel about
Yeah.
that? And then make a more liberal judgment on things.
Correct.
I guess my hang up with this travel ban is, and who knows, nobody trusts anybody right now, especially we've never been more divided as far as like trust of the press, of government, that kind of thing. But I would think that in that seat, president, whether that's Clinton or Bush or Obama or now President Trump, you're privy to things that the American public is not. And your job as commander-in-chief is to protect the citizens of this country. So when you base your decisions on that, saying all along you were going to do this, we know that you've got information that the rest of us just don't have, confidential information, and you make a declaration that this is in the best interest of security in this country. We're going to put a timeout for 120 days or for 90 days. We're going to halt this. And why that's just viewed as like you're just a racist monster, and why
It's very simple why. It's because he came out during the campaign and said he didn't want Muslims in. Had he
Yeah.
not done that, then your premise might be correct.
Yeah.
That when you're basing it solely on security, you have the right to do that. But it's very easy for a lot of people, especially including this conservative judge in Seattle, by the way, appointed by Bush, to sit there and go, all right, this isn't a security issue. This is a religion issue.
Yeah.
And so I've got a problem with it.
So say he says all that stuff, and he's like,
I fucking hate them with the towels on their heads and the beards. We don't need them. Their religion is fucked. I don't want them in here.
and everyone goes, yeah, okay. And then you get up to the point where you're sitting in that high chair now, and you're going, holy shit, there actually is something going on here. We need to lock this stuff down. Is that all washed away because you said some ignorant shit before?
No, but that's the problem. He said ignorant shit before. And I think what will come out, I think the most interesting thing that'll come out of this, whether it's upheld or not, is that it may push Trump to realize being political is important in this process.
Yeah.
Had they come out and announced this thing and carefully explained what it is and what it isn't, why we're doing it, showed some humanity, that could have gone a long way. Now, you never would have satisfied the far left. Far left would have, oh my God, he's racist, Muslim, this and that. But he would have had a lot more momentum on his side, perhaps, had he just explained it instead of bull in the china shop. So, again, whether he wins or not on this issue, he should learn that possibly being a little bit more nuanced and political is.
I don't know if that's going to.
I know. I don't know if that's possible,
work with
right?
him. You know, you read reports, and I didn't even pull the story, but I guess over the weekend I haven't seen it. Saturday Night Live was spoofing Sean Spicer.
Yeah, I saw that.
Did you see that with what's her name?
McCarthy.
Melissa McCarthy playing him, and I guess Trump. You know, word from inside the White House is
Trump thinks it's weak to have a woman playing Spicer, and so
like he's worried like. And so now there's a push to have all these like women like make appearances as cabinet members and shit on SNL. But it's whether it's true or not, it's probably total bullshit. But the fact is, it's trickling out from sources like that type of shit is bothering him. Like
they had a woman playing my guy. That's bullshit. It makes him weak. It makes him look weak and womanly. He's got to go.
Yeah,
and
it's so, dumb shit like that. And you roll this thing out, this executive order, the way. And obviously, he didn't write that. That was written by a team of lawyers weeks in advance. You read? Have you read the thing?
Not all.
I mean,
of
it's carefully worded.
Yeah.
And I've seen one of the lawyers who was involved in writing it interviewed, and he's very confident in the law behind it. So it's not like Trump sits down at the computer with a pen and paper and writes this executive order.
Like tiny hands.
Yeah, right. No, he just signs the thing.
No, but
but had they carefully said, all right, well, this is what it is. You know, let's go out there and now explain to the American people, explain to the press what this is, why we're doing it. Make sure they understand this is a security issue. It's not an anti-religion issue. Then at least you have a fighting chance.
Yeah.
But instead it's bull in the china shop and fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. I've got a mandate. You've barely got a mandate, dude, if at all, right?
Yeah.
You won the Electoral College, but you got spanked in popular vote. So don't act like the whole country's on
By
your
illegal
side.
immigrant voters.
Good point, Ian.
Millions of them.
No, and they've got to at some point get their act together because it doesn't look good having your press secretary pointing fingers and shitting down at the press. That doesn't do good for the public. Like those are discussions that you and I have. There's a different level that you need to take care of at that executive level because there's a lot of people that are trusting of those positions and to have you coming out and your people coming out and worrying about piddly ass shit or not even having the basics together, which is driving the media nuts, where it's like, in his own fucking words, he said Muslim ban.
Yes.
The president said Muslim ban. So you can't get mad at us when we declare it's a Muslim ban and then you go,
fake media, it's not a
Alternate
ban on
facts.
Muslims. It's not a Muslim ban.
Well, then you make sure he's more careful about it. You know what? Yesterday, Trump said something about Putin.
Dude.
It was like, it was saying,
With O'Reilly, right?
Yes.
Where he said, oh, you think our country's so innocent?
yes.
Yeah. What a moron!
And we're not paying that much. You're like, oh, yeah, there's some fighting.
Just for context, if you haven't heard this, O'Reilly says, "So you think that you can get along with Putin?" He's like, well, I don't know. We'll see. You know, I'm not gonna judge him before we get into these discussions. He says, "But Putin's a killer. How do you have these discussions with him?" And his response is, "You think our country's so innocent?"
Yeah.
Oh my God, referring to wars and shit.
Yeah. But then outside of that, so he's like, he also asked him, are you paying attention to some of the things that are the reports about behaviors that Putin and his people are, some of the tactics they're using on the field? And he's like, that's over there for them to deal with. However he said it, not paying that much attention at this point, blah, blah, blah. And then Mike Pence is interviewed an hour later, and they ask him the same thing, and he's like, well, are you saying they should be put on warning as well? And he's like, well, they should know that we're paying very close attention to this and blah. And it's like, wait a minute, here's your guy, dude.
Yeah.
You're over here saying like,
really haven't even looked at that. Really, next.
Yeah.
and then here's
Well, this is what you get. Remember, a lot of people, including myself, wanted this guy in because we were sick of politics,
Yes.
right? As normal, and all this bullshit that goes on, and all this glossing, and all this, massaging shit, just to sound the perfect way. But I think what you see is this is what you get when you're just totally bull in the china shop, and not caring at all about the political consequences or greasing wheels such that things can happen politically. I mean, I think there has to be some sort of happy medium there.
Yes, and I think you're absolutely right. And it jumps out to, I know it frustrates you. It terribly frustrates me when you see these politicians at their town hall meetings or whatever, and you can tell by the mannerisms and the directives and the way they hold their head and the way they look at you just know that there's coaching, that there's, and the thought I have, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but the thought I have is like, it's more important to look and really sound like you give a shit about what this moron is asking you. Like, it doesn't matter. You don't even have to care or hear what they're asking. It's like, just make sure you take 2 steps forward, not too aggressively. Don't want to look like you're attacking them. Get your arms pointed and look them in the eye.
I care.
You squint and you, with a monotone voice, you don't want to overpower them. Be careful now. They're in a vulnerable state. And you get in there and you address that issue with everything you've got. And it's like, that's the part where
It's
it's
so
like,
disingenuous.
it is.
Can we be honest and still, have a little couth, I guess is the question, right?
Right.
Can we be straightforward, honest, just, go forward, go down your checklist, but still inform people what's going on?
Yeah.
Still be clear with people, still look like you're organized. Things aren't half-baked, but they're actually thought through. I think that's all I'm asking.
And I think, I know this is going to come off sounding shitty too, but when you've got a country with 320 million people in it, you can't make everybody happy. You just can't. And so much of what I was seeing was like, there's so much attention focused on like, well, what are we going to do with transgender bathrooms? And you're sitting back going, okay,
0.03% of people
great.
give a fuck about that.
I'm glad we're spending 20 minutes discussing this on a fucking debate stage right now. Is there really nothing bigger to address in the world than which bathroom some dude is going to shit in? Like, I don't mean to be insensitive. I don't mean to be a dick, but I just feel like there's bigger things for our federal government to worry about.
Mental illness is important, Mike.
Well, that's true. Mental illness is a problem. So anyway, I don't know where this federal ban thing goes. I know the other thing.
I predict the Ninth Circuit upholds the lower court.
Yeah.
And then the Supreme Court, I guess it gets appealed in 4-4. I mean, that's my prediction. But
Yeah. Well, we'll know by tomorrow.
But you do have legal scholars, constitutional scholars, who are going, President absolutely has the right to do this.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you just apply the facts to the law, it ought to be allowed.
Yeah. And that's just a fact. I mean, that scholars will say that presidents have way more authority over issues like this. Where it goes from here, I don't know. But
well, and it's important though too for future, because you mentioned precedent for the president's powers. It's going to be an important precedent that's set as to what the executive branch can do. This is a whole separation of powers issue. You've got this constant struggle between judicial, legislative, and executive, and so they want to fight their asses off to win this. The executive, because it peels back on his power big time.
Yeah. Well, I know, and it's not lost on us how many people out there really feel like this guy is Satan himself and is out to destroy. I mean, one of the things I did while I was in Colorado, Jay, just yesterday, I went and had brunch with Mike Massey.
You love brunch.
Ooh.
It was wonderful, by the way. The bacon they had, it was spectacular.
Do you have a scone?
I had actually something healthy. It was eggs with a bunch of veggies in it and a pita
You
roll.
expect us to believe that, Mike?
Mike Massey had a plate full of pancakes with fucking like cinnamon swirl butter and syrup, and Beth had French toast, and then I had pita rolls with lettuce, some tomatoes, pico de gallo, if you will, and some
The kitchen
scrambled eggs.
fucked up your order.
They didn't. I didn't want sweets, and so I had that. But talking to Massey, like I didn't even want to get into the discussion with him. It was just like, tell me how the music's going. Good to see you. How's your son doing? Like that kind of shit. Because I know people like him are just like, they can't even fathom the fact that this Trump dude is the president, and he's just.
I don't blame him. I can barely either.
Yeah,
this is insane.
But he's like, I can't watch like the talking heads at night, like the Jimmy Fallon or Kimmel or any of those, because I can't even hear his name. I don't want to hear his name.
Wow, it's gonna be a long 4 years for Mike Massey.
And he really believes like this guy is insane and he might end the world.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh man, we're really far apart on this whole thing. Because there's a lot of people that think this guy is like, someone's going to insult his hair and he's going to go fucking duke him.
And then they've got alt-right you over here sitting next to Mike Massey.
Yeah. So it was good seeing him though. He says hello to all you guys.
Good.
He even asked how you were, E.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
And how's Eric?
Yeah, doing all right.
You guys should be nicer to Eric.
He's the same guy. We've got some other things, Jay. Why don't we take a quick break? People are getting divorced over Trump, which is hilarious to me. My guess is there's probably other issues in the marriage. Just guessing. I don't know. I don't know these people. And then we've got a break from this weekend in the case of the jogger that
we do.
That was murdered, I believe, anally raped, if I'm not mistaken. Wasn't there an anal penetration? Does anyone else remember that?
I remember more something about her appearance, but whatever.
Yeah, well, yes. I remember that as well now that you mention it. We'll get into that and much more next.
The Detroit Cast continues after this short break.
Hey there, it's Steve Gabar, the general manager at Zod Ford and Holly, and proud members at DealsInTheD.com. My favorite thing to do during these nasty, freezing cold months is to warm the cockles of our customers' hearts with smoking hot deals on cars, trucks, and SUVs. So right now, you can lease a new 16 Ford F-150 Super Cab XLT 4x4 at just $173 a month. Yes, that's $173 for an F-150 that stickers for over $45,000. See the details in our massive inventory at DealsInTheD.com.
The Detroit Cast continues now, bitches. Here's Mike and Jay.
All right, welcome back to the Detroit Cast. Mike and Jay. Kind of an exciting week ahead.
It is indeed, Mike.
Looking forward for us, you know.
Next week, E, excited?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sunday,
Yes.
starting
It's going to
Sunday.
be interesting for sure.
Sunday through Thursday, Big E is going to be helping us out with that fundraiser.
Yeah.
So sort of be the spear tip.
Doing
isn't
what
it?
I can do, which is not much, just lend my uselessness to it,
Yeah.
I suppose, is what I can do. Offer
Yeah.
time that I have.
Yeah, so if anybody hasn't heard, we're raising money for South Oakland Shelter next week. Looking to raise a hell of a lot of money, hopefully,
Yeah.
and hand it off
Thanks
to
to
them.
you fine folks
yeah,
listening.
And
We're gonna
hand
need
it
your
off
help.
to them and let them use that for their programming throughout the year. And Big E is going to help bring awareness to this situation by
Yeah.
sleeping out on your driveway, right?
That's right.
Living as a homeless person.
Yes. He's going to be living out there. And the cool thing is we've decided to install an Eagle Cam, or a big Eagle Cam, as we've coined it, in his tent so that you, fine folks, can click on that and check out a live video stream at any point of the day or night. 2 a.m, you want to see what E looks like when he's sleeping away, dreaming about Homer Simpson. You can check in and see if he masturbates in his sleep, or if he snores, or
I predict
you
it's
know-
going to be very addicting. Because I
Yeah.
saw that stupid "He Will Not Divide Us" cam.
I
couple
still
weeks
check
ago.
it out once in a while.
Dude, that was so addicting just to have on.
Yeah.
While I was doing other work, I predict people all over Metro Detroit are going to be watching E for long periods every day.
Do you
Yeah.
know, is there there's a microphone? Can they hear the sounds coming in if I
think
talk,
so.
can they hear that or no?
Yeah.
I think so.
It would be embarrassing if I were to have some level of sleep talking. What if I were to be like,
Yeah.
fuck Jay, fuck Jay. Oh, fuck Jay.
Well, the interesting aspect, and we'll know more next week when it goes live, is I think it's safe to say and fair to say that most people, most human beings, understand when a camera is on them. Like there's a real, it makes people hold their protest signs a little bit higher and scream shit into a camera. Like when you think that you're being watched, people just behave differently. E doesn't.
Yeah.
And that's what I've noticed is like he's going to just do him. He's going to pick his nose. He's going to be a weirdo. He almost can't help it. So that part I'm looking forward to. And obviously raising money for the homeless.
Yeah,
is
so
our
we're
goal.
gonna have a link that goes live here in the coming days, and we'll send that around. But it's basically you go on this page that we set up, campaign page, and you can donate directly from there with credit card or PayPal. So
Very easy.
Very simple. And it should be fun.
It's
Well,
a cool site too. I think our site that hosts it looks really
Yeah.
cool and really
Yeah.
badass. And
Yeah.
should we? Never mind.
what mention the Big E link?
I was gonna say, maybe the images, or is that?
Oh yeah, we'll send out a couple images, a little teaser, Big Eagle teasers. Thanks to Stacy.
You're awesome.
Did some,
Stacy's fine art, is it?
yeah, did some photoshopping for us.
Of what Big E would look like in a bird's nest, maybe.
As an eagle.
Is an eagle. Big eagle.
Maybe as an eaglet too. We'll see.
That'll be fun. I'm hoping that I am more enlightened about homelessness after this week too. Talking to some people.
Yeah.
I'm going to interview some people.
Because as of now, you are not enlightened at all.
Well, I don't want to say I'm not enlightened, but I still find myself like walking by a homeless guy in the street, just going, I don't want to make eye contact. I did that in Colorado this week, and I was like, wait a
Oh,
minute.
Mike.
We're about to do this great charity thing and raise some money and awareness. Why are you ignoring this guy? And I don't mean to be a dick, and there are plenty of times when I'm in the right mood and it's like, yeah, dude, here's a couple bucks or whatever. But I still find myself second guessing a lot of the time, like, all right, what did you do? Why are we here?
And if I give you this money,
Yeah.
what are you going to do with it?
How did we end up here, sir? How much of this is on you?
Yeah.
I know it's not on me.
We're gonna have some stats, I think, that are pretty staggering. In
Right,
terms
and they
of,
do say there's like I forget what I've heard, but really on any given moment, anybody is like 2 or 3 big, just things going not their way from being there.
That's well put.
With insurance and shit
Yes.
right now, how a lot of people, if I were to break an arm, or a
God
legit have a real medical issue, dude, even me living at home with my parents could get tricky really fast.
Yeah.
There's mental illness issues. There's one stat I saw recently out of them, and we'll get this straight, but there's a huge percentage of people out there homeless who have taken college classes or have a college degree.
Really?
Which to me, I looked at like, holy shit, man.
Wow.
I mean, it really does show, to East Point, how close people are to that situation themselves, or no family members who are.
Yeah.
Mental illness can be a big part of it as well.
Mental illness is huge. That's game changing. It really is. But the idea that that so many of us, an overwhelming percentage of us, are one paycheck away, from if things don't go right,
Yes.
being in that position, you can easily see then how you can fall off the.
I think the key is to remember that these are people, which sometimes
Right.
I admit it's hard for me too.
Just like old people?
Just like
Yeah.
old people. When you're walking by people on the street on the way to the game or whatever, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to remember that they are people.
Well, and I don't. You don't want to blanket everybody, but there is to me, and there still is a difference between seeing a guy that's clearly older, who's missing legs, and is holding a sign saying Vietnam vet. Can you help me out? That guy and the guy that I saw in Colorado, who looks like he's maybe 23, freshly showered, holding a sign, give what you can, as he's got cigarette hanging out of his ear and a sign that and you're just like, dude, there's a difference here in someone that looks like he can walk down to the street and get a job anywhere versus, and I don't know, maybe that's a shitty way to look at it on my part. I don't know. But
Well, South Oakland Shelter has vetted people who are in their program, so they are
Right.
indeed people in need, people who are not. It's not a warming shelter, which a lot of these places
yeah, it's
are.
freezing in there, which is weird that they do that to them.
It's not one of these places that just opens their door to people to come off the street, junkies and drunk asses, to just get a night. I mean, it's actually a program that is moving toward getting these people housing. So
Yes.
they've been vetted. They've applied to this thing. They've been through it. They're drug tested or alcohol tested to make sure that they're serious about it, and it's not just draining money through people
funds.
who are going to just be wasteful of it.
Yeah, and that's not to say that they're not aware of the problems that come up with that, and they're not helpful when some guy falls off the wagon in the program. It's not like they're cold, but yeah, there are different levels to the guys that are sleeping under a bridge somewhere versus
Right.
ones that are trying to get their shit together with a couple young kids.
Yep,
and,
a lot of these are young families
Yeah.
who need. If you don't have a place to live, how do you get that steady job? How do you get? And so this
Yeah.
helps them get on their feet and get rolling forward.
and has professionals in place to help put you on the right track. Because a lot of people, they get in that position, they don't know what to do. I would be one of those that would go, fuck, I don't even know who to call for services of help on this level, like what you would need. So, it's going to be an exciting week next week, and hopefully a lot of people will help us out as we do that.
Indeed.
So, now on to more horrifying things. The jogger from back, if you go back to August this last year, Karina Vetrano.
Yeah, we had kind of a string of joggers. Now, this is the one who was running in New York. Usually ran with her dad, but
Howard Beach.
For whatever reason, or we know the reason, the dad said, my back's kind of hurting today. I think I'm gonna sit this one out.
Yeah.
You go for your run.
Go on without me, hun. Which we took some shit for because we pointed, and all we did was point that out. He said that in one of the stories when he was quoted, was like, he was very emotional and was like, I'll never be able to live this down. It's my fault because I usually run with her, and I had this fucking just a tinge in my back, and so I sat today out, and of all days, boom, this happens to her. And so we were like, wow, that would be tough to live down. You fucking like, oof.
Then we
Backed
also
out.
pointed out the poem that the mother wrote during the funeral, questioned whether it was actually a poem. You guys didn't like the rhythm of it. It didn't rhyme. It was more of a
Well,
spoken word.
I think
Or just
people
a
are getting away
paragraph.
with people are getting away with murder right now under the guise
Poetry.
of poetry, and I'm sorry, I'm offended by it.
There was one we did when I think you were gone 2 weeks ago or something for a day. Jay, what was that one we did, Mike, where that girl wrote a poem and it was just not a poem at all. I don't. You
Yeah.
remember what I'm talking about? Or
Vaguely,
God damn it, I
but
wish
there's
I could-
so many examples of it that.
Well, the third aspect of this case is
Go ahead, Jay.
It's one that some people might remember. It's where me and E kind of just pointed out that maybe she's not as hot as she thinks she's. She's
And this,
maybe I don't know. Maybe her
And look-
ass looks like hindquarters
yeah. Well, look,
of
listen,
a horse.
I got you. I think that would be a fairer.
Is she a centaur?
No, she's not a centaur. No, I know with the ponytail and the ass. Yeah, I see where you're going with that, but no.
She like the duck lip.
Yeah, I know. I think if you just pointed this out to a random person online and went, fraudulent hot, you're not as hot as you think you are, like, fine. That's totally in bounds. But the fact is she was viciously attacked and raped.
She was.
And murdered. And so it seemed to some, not saying to all,
That was insensitive.
that to some, the fact that you guys keyed in on just saying, she's not as hot as she thinks she is, and she's getting more credit for being hot than she deserves. Am I fair in saying that was the overall assessment that you guys had?
Correct. We meant no disrespect, right, E?
Sure.
Of course not.
Well, you guys will be happy to know, and nothing's going to change. It's not like she can work on that. Like, what it is. And in fairness to you guys, and I don't mean to be a dick either, all the photos that were put out were not her at work in business attire. They were all like showing off her duck lips and her ass.
Everybody
and
jumped
how
on her
hot.
Instagram account, and her Instagram account was essentially her with duck lips, doing all these silkies.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, look at me.
And every story was beautiful,
Yes.
or hot jogger. Hot jogger. And it was like, you were just asking that we politely halt the brakes a little bit on the hotness
Tap the
declaration.
brakes.
Let's not just all across the board agree because of the horrendous outcome that we're just throwing hot at everybody now.
Correct.
Okay, now that that's out there, they did arrest someone for her grisly murder and rape.
Yes, DNA match, huh?
Yes.
A guy who wasn't in their system before, I guess.
Oh, young Chanel Lewis.
Young Chanel.
Yeah, it seems like an odd name for a gentleman. I got to be honest with you. Chanel.
How do you spell?
Chanel. Channel? Canal? Chanel.
Channel.
It's Chanel, right? Chanel?
I guess.
Well, Chanel Lewis, he confessed to the murder, and as you mentioned, his DNA did match.
Why did I picture this as a white guy crime?
It does seem like such a vicious. Anytime sexual assault is, not that
Yeah.
black guys aren't capable
Dude,
of.
I just
of
picture
criminal
white guys as
sexual
way
assault.
more devious,
Yeah.
deviants in terms of the sexual assault and
Well,
I
just
just
the
picture
w-
this mousy little guy, this gross little white guy.
Yeah, that's been
Little
jacking
stash.
in his basement forever.
Yes.
Can't get an actual chick, and so he's going to go
I'm gonna take that
tackle one in the tall grass, in the marsh, if you
Yeah.
will. But yeah, it doesn't seem like something black guys. Not to stereotype. I'm sure they're capable of it, but they don't seem to do that very often. Where they just grab a hot
Maybe they
white
do.
jogger.
I don't know. I don't mean to sell them short.
You think? I don't know. Do we? Well, if black guys are listening, I mean, is it something you guys are capable of? I'm assuming you're capable of
I
it.
just
We just don't see it
pictured
that
it
often.
a white guy. That's
Yeah,
all.
it does seem like a creepy white guy crime, and
Like a little Dylan Roof looking guy,
Yeah. And there's no shame in us acknowledging that that's the
Yeah.
reality that we see. Is more times than not, it's going to be that, oversexed, can't get it white guy, that bad stash, bad hair. He doesn't know how to do it, and he's going to go take something. So anyway, this guy voluntarily gave this DNA sample to police. They
Dumbass. I mean, it's one of those things, though, right? You're pulled over, and it's like, you can either voluntarily take this breathalyzer, or we'll take you in. It's like, oh fuck, I guess I'll see if I can just go half blow into this.
Keep blowing harder,
this done.
harder.
Just gonna play it cool, play like I'm totally innocent.
Thank God I sucked on those pennies.
There's nothing to hide here. Was that his thinking, you think?
Hope to God the breathalyzer on this officer is broken. Ooh, I'm sorry, you failed miserably. So yeah, he volunteered it, the DNA, and it matched to samples recovered from her neck, under her fingernails, and on her cell phone. Residents.
What about in her?
Yeah.
No?
Well, That's where they've sampled so far as I know.
They
Now,
didn't have to go any further, any deeper.
residents in this area had said, yeah, this Lewis dude, Chanel,
Yeah.
has been creeping around the neighborhoods a little bit. And so the cops are like, all right, let's take his number down, let's take his name, and just
Channel.
like note that.
Channel Lewis.
Channel Lewis. You know, we looked at him. He doesn't have a bunch of warrants. He's not in our system, but all right.
Keep an eye on him.
Yeah, just keep that floating in there. And so they're looking back at records over this period of time, and they're like, boy, that Channel Lewis guy. And so they bring him in for questioning, and he just, at one point when they were talking to him, he described a puddle in that park that they were convinced put him at that park at that time because of this puddle that he had described. And they were like, that means he had to have been there the same time as her. And so anyway, he told him the attack was impulsive, sparked by problems at home. Who can't relate to problems at home?
Yeah.
Paul
Didn't
had
he say
that.
something like, I just lost it? He didn't admit to the rape, right? He admitted, I think he admitted to choking her out.
He said as he got near her, he yanked off his earbuds, attacked her, dragged her to the spot where she died.
She died there.
How would happen
I
after that?
dragged her there. I certainly didn't rape her, and she died.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Of course, his family is all coming out going, absolutely outrageous. He is incapable of committing such a crime.
I saw a quote. He loves females.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that stood out to me, and I don't mean to be insensitive here either, but I really, really don't. But when I read this, I was like, that's odd. He said he got near her and was close to completing a sex act, but apparently didn't. Doesn't that seem like a weird detail to have in there? Like you started to go down that road, but then what?
The cops said that? They said
That
they
he
believe
said
he got near.
that he was banging her and then he was stopped and like didn't finish. Wouldn't that? I don't know.
That sucks.
Maybe I'm not looking into that right, but it just seems like something like, okay, I've gone this far. Like, why would you not?
Maybe somebody came upon him. Gross.
Yeah.
Not to say that there was a third person involved, but no, maybe, somebody comes around the corner or comes around the bend. He's, shit.
Yeah.
Has to
I
get
could
up
have
and hide.
sworn there was an anal penetration in this story too. It's not jumping out at me in this article I'm reading, but I could swear.
Yeah, I feel
That
like
was
there
part of
was
it.
too.
Yeah. You remember that? There was another guy that they brought in for questioning. You may know him from such movies as Back to the Future,
Oh.
Family Ties.
Michael J.
Michael Fox was brought in, which was weird. Back in September, Michael Fox was taken into custody. He was found naked and ranting in the same Marshy Park area.
Was he shaken?
Well, they didn't say that, but I'm just, when they're like, oh, he was acting erratic, it's like, well,
He's got Parkinson's.
give
Give him a break.
Yeah, hello. I can't just explain away the nudity, but anyway, he apparently was agitated, incoherent. Oof. Sounds like shots at a guy with Parkinson's, doesn't it? And he was yelling, "The father did it. I have nothing to do with it." And then so police dragged his Michael Fox in, and DNA samples proved that he was not the guy.
Isn't that something? There's oftentimes in these media-rich cases where people will try to insert themselves into the crimes. Like,
Yeah.
no, dude, you didn't do it. Get the fuck out of here. It's like the guy in the John Bonet case. Remember him? He was flying from like Taiwan or something. He was trying to go on one of these sexcations where you go bang little boys. Or do you remember
Sure.
that guy? He was a creepy-looking guy.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
he was just flat out saying, "Yeah, I killed John Bonet."
Yeah,
And they checked him up and down. They're like, "No, you didn't, dude. Fuck.
yeah.
I know you wish you did, but you didn't."
You didn't do it. It's so weird. You'd think they'd want to just be like, "Yep, we got him.
Yeah.
Community safe. Here he is. He admitted to the crime." Like, people have been convicted for such less
Yeah.
than openly admitting, like, I did that.
Got a guy
thing.
willing to fall on the sword.
Yeah,
No, you didn't.
No, sir. I'm sorry. Nothing about this.
Hey, February means three things. 1, Groundhog's Day. 2, no matter what Punxsutawney Phil says, spring is right around the corner. And 3, all TDC listeners get ridiculously sick deals at Zott Ford and Holly. Right now, lease a new 17 Ford Fusion for $98 a month. Yes, that's a brand new Ford Fusion for less than $100 and most likely cheaper than your cell phone bill. Hurry to I-75 and exit 98 before the price of a new car goes higher than your phone bill. See the details and their massive inventory at dealsinthed.com.
Jay, are you familiar with Bob Gill?
Bob Gill.
Robert Gill?
No.
Robert M. Gill.
No.
No?
Nope.
He was a guy, I don't know if we named him by name, but he was one of the many that was pardoned by President Obama.
Okay.
Had his sentence commuted. One of these low-level drug offenders, blah, 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 and thrown in the system.
So was he commuted or pardoned, Mike?
I don't know. Well, he's out.
Okay.
He's out. Well, he was out.
Oh, no. What happened?
Well, I got out and things were looking up for me, and then, I tried to sell 2 kilos of coke on the street. What are you going to do?
Dude, you're out a week.
He immediately gets caught with 2 pounds of cocaine in brick form. And so, cops obviously had an issue with that, and they rolled up on him, and he was like, shit! And then took off like a motherfucker. And so they had to do the whole high-speed chase, and then he crashed into another car, and they arrested him. So he could face another 40 years now, and I don't know who's going to let him out this time.
God, you're just handed this get-out-of-jail-free card.
Yeah.
And you squander it.
After his release, they say Gill, he did make an effort to stay away from the life of crime. He became a paralegal, and he was trying to help a local criminal defense law firm. But then on Thursday, he met this unidentified person in a grocery store parking lot.
It's too good a deal to pass up.
To pick up a black backpack containing a kilo of coke. So anyway, the president, when he signed this thing, was like, "You have demonstrated the potential to turn your life around. Now it is up to you to make the most out of this opportunity." He's like, "Thank you very much, sir. I
Will
will
do, for sure.
Noted. Will do." So anyway, just wanted to give you a quick update.
I think another one of the guys that got pardoned was whacked like a week or so ago. Honestly, yeah, like execution style.
Yeah, I think I read that too.
Yeah.
The lawyer that was fighting for years to get him out is like, his quote was just like, "I am really disappointed to hear that God, he's been arrested again."
Oof.
Yeah.
Hey, the Amazon link, don't forget to use it, everybody.
won't.
DetroitCast.com. There you will find a link to Amazon. Everybody shops on Amazon, so please use our link. We get a bit of a kickback. It's a great way to support us.
Amazon.
I don't know if this is coming to a Facebook or Snapchat near you. It's something they're doing in Europe now. They've got a police icon now that they're putting on Facebook and Snapchat. So if you feel like you're being bullied online, you can click it and get the police involved.
Really?
Yeah. So if someone sends you something you don't like, "Oh man, I'm being bullied."
It seems like it's probably pretty prone to overuse.
Yeah. We've had a little bit of... We've dipped into this window just a hair, us, and I have a feeling the last thing that cops want to deal with is the petty horse shit.
Yeah.
As if they don't have enough on their plate.
Oh my God.
And then this fucking old man will not stop saying that Donald Trump is my president when he is so clearly hashtag not my president.
Seriously.
And so,
How is this going to work, Mike?
dude, I don't know. Like I said, when I was on the beat, when my partner and I were out there that day, and it was like rolling up to this house and having like 2 kids that are 15, 16 years old and their dad, and they're all like this is the biggest thing in the world. And it turns out on the bus stop corner, some guy, one of the kids in the neighborhood, like pinched her butt. And it was like, "I've been assaulted. I have been sexually assaulted." And dad's like, "She has been sexually assaulted. This is outrageous." And I'm just like, okay, kid pinched her butt at the bus. Like, I don't mean to discount it, but I'm looking at these cops like, really? This is what, in the crime-infested neighborhoods here, the drug-infested neighborhoods, the gang neighborhoods, they're worried about some idiot at a bus stop pinching a fucking girl's butt? I don't know. Again, not to be insensitive about it, but
What jurisdiction are you talking about here? This
is in
story?
Europe where this is going on here.
Yeah, let them
Let them
fail
deal with
first.
it. Yeah. I
Let
don't
them
know.
show us the failure that this policy will be.
Well, children as young as 7, they've got counselors that they can talk to, are talking about how we're being tormented and abused.
How long
by,
before pedophiles infiltrate the counselors?
Well, good question. That's one of the things they mention in here is that like the at-risk youth for online pedophiles and and things like that. And that's one of the things they're trying to combat, which is great. I mean, if that's what you're going for, but look, the internet is what it is. And these Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, they are what they are. There's no way to stop that. It is a cesspool. Why you would have your 7-year-old on Snapchat or Facebook is beyond me, but that's just the reality of it. Like, if you don't want to see that stuff, then you don't participate in it. But I don't know how you're going to stop the online bullying. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. We should probably get to email, Jay. Did you see that Cheeto that sold for $100,000?
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, it looks like Harambe. Dude. Again.
$100,000?
Well, in today's news of, well, the terrorists have a point.
They do, dude. Don't they?
It's a flaming
God,
hot
if
Cheeto,
you really
too.
look at our culture.
I mean, you could see him in there. I mean, any gorilla. It doesn't necessarily have to be Harambe.
I've not seen animal crackers look this accurate, Mike.
Yeah.
That is Harambe himself.
Yeah. There it is. Look at that.
I'll be damned.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad.
How long would that have taken you to fucking munch that damn Cheeto, though? You know what I mean?
Oh,
You've been
yeah.
like, check it out. It looks like Harambe.
And then I would have ate it. Never would have thought of posting it
How'd they
online.
get $100,000, dude?
Well, they put it up on eBay with a price tag of $11.99, and then let the bidding go. And it picks up some steam. It hits some papers. And they claim that it sold this morning for $100,000 was the final bid. Now, how you force someone to pay that $100,000 is another story. And I don't know anyone that can afford to pay $100,000 for a simple Cheeto that would actually spend $100,000 on a Cheeto.
I mean, a grilled cheese that looks like the Virgin Mary, yes. But a Harambe Cheeto? What's the usefulness of that?
Yeah, I know. At least with the...
How about a wood grain that looks like Jesus? Okay.
Well, you can, but see, you're able to then point to this is a sign from higher above.
Right. What's with
Like
Harambe? What do you get? What do you get out of this?
I don't know that Harambe's looking down on you. He's doing well to quite well. I mean, is it a sign from Harambe? Is that? I'm not sure. And I think if like I went over to your house and this was then framed, it's like an inch to an inch and a half long. If that was then framed on your wall, and I went, dude, what's with the fucking
What's with the Cheeto in the shadow box?
And you went, oh, you're not going to believe this with your snifter. Yes, I paid $100,000 in an online auction. It looks a stunning resemblance, striking resemblance to Harambe. I think I'd punch you in the face before I smashed that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know who are you going to show that off to and think, wow, that's
right.
badass.
I want to see the other side of it. Does it look just as good on the other side? You know what I mean?
Oh, you wondering if it's flat on
or
the one side?
Yeah,
or-
or it's got some growth coming out of the side of it that makes it non-Harambe-like.
Yeah. The only way I would not eat that, if I found that Harambe in my bag, is if it was one of those that, like, I think every crumb is edible in a bag of chips.
But you're one of these pour it in your mouth guys.
I'm poured in my hand guy more than anything. But if I get one of those chips that's just jet black, like it got burned to shit and it tastes terrible,
Those freak me out.
like those ones freak
the
me out.
green ones?
I was just gonna note the green ones. Those are the only ones that are out. But that Harambe one, unless he's just burned to a crisp or green,
I'm eating him
I'm eating him.
for sure. I might show somebody, take a picture, maybe. I guess it's
Picture's
possible.
fair. Picture's
But there's
fair.
no way I'm not eating that shit.
Yeah, I know.
Who knew there was a market out there for it?
I know.
You got to wake up, man. Wake up, dude. We're losing E.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, what's going on with E over here? You sick,
I don't
E?
think you can handle this this new job you have. This new driving people to and fro the airport.
No, I don't know what it is. I ate something this morning or something. I'm kind of feeling like shit.
Wow,
right now.
E, are you
Like,
gonna poop your pants?
No, but I feel like really shitty. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
You know what he ate? He went to Taco Bell.
That's not what it was.
Well, hold on, let me
Okay.
finish. Yesterday, he went to Taco Bell, and he got, I don't know if you've seen this. We discussed it one day when you weren't here, but they've got a new taco where the shell is just fried chicken, and then they fill it with, the deliciousness, and then you eat this, and I guess it tested really well in a couple markets, and it launched just the other day.
Yeah.
And so E went and tried one of them.
The shell is fried chicken?
Yeah.
It
It's
was
old
not
chicks
good.
and
I didn't
shell.
like it. I just tried it to try it.
Show Jay the chicken shell.
I'm trying to.
Are you gonna barfy?
No. But I
If
feel
you had
really
to pick
shitty.
one, barf or shit, what would happen?
I
What's
would-
most likely to happen right now?
Well, I guess barf over shit.
Doesn't that look delicious?
That's maybe not a best picture, but it's hard to. It's really not that good, dude. It just.
It's surprising. Hey, it appears that our friends Zot Ford are going a bit stir-crazy during these cold winter months, but that means all good things for you. Right now, and only at Zot Ford in Halley, you can get a new 16 Ford Focus at over 30% off sticker price. Yes, that's 30% off a brand new car. Get to I-75 and exit 98 to get a new 16 Ford Fusion at just $14,200. That's over $6,000 off sticker. Hurry! With deals like that, with deals like this, the inventory won't last long, and when they're gone, like Big E's nasty toenails.
That's right. How are we doing for email?
Do you have some email? And speaking of Zot Ford, Mike, we must compliment Steve Gabara on his birthday.
Wow.
He was born.
Good.
Born
Congratulations.
many years ago on February 8th.
Very
Happy
good.
birthday, Steve.
Yes.
And also friend of the show, Brent Wasik.
Yes. Happy birthday, Brent.
Birthday to both of you.
Yes. Sharing
Mike?
a birthday.
Mike, along with JPE's Jokes Per Episode, we're going to have to start tracking lost listeners.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you lost one for us, Mike.
Oh, no. Again?
Larry writes in.
Was it a rape discussion? Was it a dead baby discussion?
No, Mike.
Massey admitted he struggles to listen from time to time because of the dead baby stories. I didn't want to tell you guys, but
He doesn't listen to
Shocked
us.
he would even listen at
Yeah.
all.
He gets your Trump conversations. Oh, he said Trump. Larry writes in, subject, comedy.
oh boy.
Mike, my wife and I have loved your podcast for over 750 shows.
Excellent.
Thanks for all that. We're sorry you decided to change the format of the show from comedy to the alt-right agenda.
Oh, man.
You're such a funny guy. Best of luck to you, Larry.
Yeah.
We lost Larry. Best
appreciate
of
that,
luck.
Larry. He said best of luck.
He's bidding you adieu.
Why would he write to tell me I'm an asshole and I don't listen to you anymore? And his wife, he talks his wife into not listening anymore either?
Yeah, they can't stand your alt-right.
Am I
views.
coming off as alt-right? I don't mean to come off
Trump
as alt-right.
supporter. Love Trump. You love Trump. Trump lover.
I think Trump is a
In
douche.
this
but-
day and age, if you don't say you hate Trump, then you might as well be.
It's very
crazy.
divided, Mike. Have you noticed that? The country's
I
very
have.
divided right now.
Yeah.
It's not enough just to say I don't really love him. You have to fucking hate Trump, or it's.
But then if you do that, then you lose the whole other side.
Yeah, it's like I try my best, and I think you do too, of trying anyways to at least
I'm
look
just
at
honest
things
with my
perspective.
feelings. Be honest with your feelings. Mike.
Exactly. And honestly, I feel like some of the things we're talking about, it's like, it's an injustice what's happening with the media's delivery of it or the presentation of it, and we're always going to point that stuff out. It's interesting what E just said too, because I have noticed this a lot since the election, and I know E is noticing it too, which is the idea that if you are against Trump, or it's almost like there's an air of arrogance to the discussion that I notice, where it is almost popular now to come out vocally, publicly about what an asshole the other side is, to be not as forward-thinking, and
Yes.
progressive, and historic and hero-like that I am with my opinion. And every time somebody does this, which is all the time, like I would never go up to a guy and go, fuck yeah, Trump, bitches, high five, and like, here's why I love Trump. Boom, 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 boom. Fuck these people. Fuck. Like, never. I've never walked up to anybody and declared anything positive for either side. I think they're all assholes. But it is so common for someone you haven't talked to in forever to walk up and go, can you believe what's going on with this country? Trump is a fucking monster. I mean, Hillary was just the one. I mean, she had all the and go on this spill fest, and it's like, you realize that 50% of the people think you're a total asshole right now. Mm-hmm. Like, and they don't care about that, or I don't know. It's just
not even comprehensible to them. Like when I do the comedy sometimes and stuff like that, I really just don't give opinions. I just don't care that much to give opinions. But you're right. Like when the conversation strikes up, it's not like, can you believe this at all? It is. I mean, it is just into like
Fact.
telling me, like, yeah, god damn, Trump's an asshole. It's like it doesn't even. I mean, imagine if I can only imagine if you were to come out and be like, well, maybe he's not a total asshole. It would just be like,
No, he is.
I know, but
well, he kind of
That's
is.
not what
It's
I'm
just,
saying. That's not what
it's
I'm
just
saying,
this
though.
kind
I'm-
of air of
Yeah, part
like,
of that is
knowing,
part
like,
of that
I'm
is
smarter.
the party who's in power gets hit, right?
yeah.
But
I think it'd be the other way. I would never go around just telling people unsolicitedly, wow, Hillary's president. Am I right, guys? Fuck her.
yeah. Now we've talked about this issue, I think, in different ways over the years, and I think part of it is the nature of progressivism. It's very hard. It's easy for them to look like heroes, right?
Right.
Because if you're inclusive, then you're not hateful and you're loving and you
Right.
care about everybody. And then the other side looks like a monster if they want to put the brakes on any one of those issues.
Right.
And they're easily made into a monster by not looking progressive and forward thinking.
Yeah.
It's just the nature of that discussion.
Well, yeah, that's very true, and but it's also like there used to be, at least it felt like there was some truth in what was being said, whereas now it feels like you can just throw anything at the wall, hope it sticks, and it becomes fact the more it's thrown out there. When that story we talked about briefly before we were off for a couple of days with the UC Berkeley riots and all that shit. And
Protests.
The protests, the peaceful protests that broke out on the campus there, and Milo Yiannopoulos, and the brush that was used to paint this gay Jewish conservative, and it was like, that's insulting to just like throw these buzzwords of racist, homophobic, misogynistic, like all these labels that actually are things and are troubling parts of the world and society, to just throw them blanket, like take everything he says because he doesn't think like I do, he's conservative, fuck him, and just throw all these labels at him and paint him as a monster. It's like,
well, when you hear the phrase
okay.
identity politics, that's
Yeah.
a buzzword, buzz phrase that's gone on
Yeah.
for a long, long time. But that's it,
yeah,
One side uses that and to great effect, honestly,
Yeah.
and that's very much part of a strategy, an intentional strategy.
yeah.
It's not by mistake.
But why? I would think that there's enough, because no one's saying that someone that believes this shit is dumb. They're not dumb people. So why would you not look at that and go, wait a minute, whoa, I get it. You want to label so and so a Nazi, but you realize he's Jewish. You want to call him homophobic? Wait a minute, he is gay. You want to call him racist? Well, you realize his boyfriend's black. Like, it doesn't take a genius
Yeah,
to look
that's
at some of those things and go, okay, I don't identify with his politics, and I think he's an agitator and kind of a dick, but like, okay, let's save these labels to where they really actually fit.
Yeah, that's an obvious one that didn't fit, and that's pretty crazy
yeah,
that it got advanced like that.
yeah. Anyway,
Hey guys, says Marcy, my husband and I were driving through Canada on our way from Alaska to Virginia. Wow, what a drive.
nice.
It just pisses me off hearing this email. I could have been on that drive.
When we heard your interview with Mike Lodish, it just so happened that our hotel the next night was right across the street from a Bulk Barn store, so we stopped in and bought a bunch of Lodish's Champion Brittle. I have to admit, it was pretty darn delicious, and I'm not usually a Brittle fan. Now my husband will not stop asking me if I'm enjoying a hot mouthful of Lodish. Our trip has been
Oh, Mike will be
predictably
thrilled to hear that.
Our trip has been predictably long, and being able to listen to the show most days is a godsend. Big E, I'm sorry to have had to veto you accompanying us on the trip, because it would have combined several of your favorite things: ventures, staying in lots of hotels, long haul trucking as we're driving our RV and towing our car, and proop sitting for very lazy, not too old dogs who are not on any medication. This would have been perfect.
Yeah, this was your trippy.
My husband was really pushing for Big E to fly out to Anchorage and drive back with us until we learned. Until we listened. Until we listened to Jay talking about carpooling with Big E, and imagine Big E talking nonstop for 14
Jay,
straight
you
days.
son of a bitch! You
Dude,
ruined this.
I simply described what happened. Okay, you
ruined
talk
this.
nonstop. Are you denying that? E?
No, I'm not.
Okay, you did it yourself.
Yeah.
Talking nonstop.
Jay pointed it out. I agree. He didn't have to, but he did, and it's true. It's
I
not
was
that he
asked
was
to
lying.
describe our carpool. Well, how can I not include the fact that
Ludicrous.
E talked from the moment we sat in that car to the moment he stepped out of that car? How can
Yeah.
I not include that fact?
No, well, you couldn't. You're
Now,
an
I will
honest
say
gentleman.
this, Marcy. It made the drive go like that.
Yeah,
That was a snap.
Snap into the.
It
You're
went
not
like
getting a
that.
pop. Why don't you get?
I've never been a great snapper. Ooh,
You're not
I'm better with my left.
You're fat. You're fat fingering it. Your fingers are too fat. Come on, get a pop.
Whatever.
Why aren't you getting a pop?
It would have gone like that, Marcy, had
Here,
you taken him with you.
Say it would have gone like this, Marcy.
It would have gone like this. 2 snaps. Would have gone that quickly had you taken that son of a bitch, because he would have talked the entire time. And I'm telling you, the 40-minute drive home seemed like 3 minutes.
And the worst part about it is, like, most people get really tired and then they regress, and it's like, oh man, I'm just gonna melt into the back seat here and do my thing. Maybe I'll jack off a little bit, but that's about it. And they quiet down. E gets twice as chatty the more tired and exhausted he gets. You know what I mean? So
We imagined Big E talking nonstop for 14 straight days and nights through 2 countries, several states, and countless cities. That's when he admitted, my husband did, that he would most likely have killed Big E in the first 5 miles and tried to leave the body at a random truck stop in the middle of nowhere. In all seriousness, though, Big E has really become. I'll just keep this part on the down.
yeah, don't want to give too much personal information. I don't blame you.
It's become one of our favorite parts of the show. I guess I'll read that part. All of his crazy stories, stunts, and idiosyncrasies makes for constant entertainment.
Yeah.
Keep up the great work.
What a great story, though! If they would have actually taken him on and killed him in like the just like extreme wilderness,
That would have
out
made for-
Canada, dude.
oh,
That
dude.
what a great story for us to tell.
In the Yukon Territory.
Oh, like wasn't there a guy named E on the show at one
Oh,
point?
yeah, he was left for dead in Saskatoon.
Oh yeah. You familiar with the Great North? Vast wasteland up there, and yeah, he's somewhere up there. We don't know. We should have put a tracking device on him. It would have been cool to catch up with him once a year, but
His corpse is just laying there next to a caribou. What can he eat?
half-eaten. He's so bummed. He's sick. Can't put up with us today.
We'll save the rest for tomorrow, Mike.
All right, sounds good. Let's get out of here. It's good to be back live. Thanks, everybody, for hanging with us as we make our way towards the weekend and kicking off Big E sleeping outside and our Big Eagle cam going live to watch a homeless E out in the wild. So we look forward to that. Thanks, everybody, for hanging with us. We'll do it again tomorrow, and we'll see you then.
You've been listening to the Detroit Cast with your hosts, Mike and Jay. From all of us at Radio for One Studios, thank you for listening. And as always, thank you, Detroit.